Hello and welcome to Lily's Library. So today I will be talking about my 12 in 12 2025 edition. So these are the 12 books I want to read in the 12 months of 2025. 2024, I set myself a TBR of 15 books. I even did this spread in my book journal, which I will be doing a new one of these for 2025. And I really failed at it, and I'm really disappointed because a lot of these were books that I was so excited for, and then I just didn't get around to them. So 2025, we're changing things up. But a quick recap of our 2024 TBR. I had 15 books total on my TBR. A few of those will be reoccurring books on my 2025 TBR. Out of those 15 books, I read 5 and DNF'd 2. So it was not the best outcome for that, and I would like to do better because these were books I was so excited to read, and I just didn't get around to a few of them. There is 3 on my 2024 list that I did start, and I just wasn't in the mood for any of them at the time, so they just got put off and I never picked them up again. But my 2025 TBR is a doozy. I've got a lot of different genres on here. I found myself quite fatigued from fantasy books this past year. I was just struggling with picking them up, so I've been exploring a lot of new genres, and I wanted my next TBR for 2025 to match that and also to be easier so I can just get through one of these a month. So I've got a huge stack of books here that I want to try and read in 2025. So we've got a lot to get through, so I'm just going to go down the stack. One of the first books that I want to read is going to be The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. I've only ever read The Hobbit, but I absolutely love the Lord of the Rings movies. And I'm well overdue to be reading these books. At the very least, I want to read book 1, The Fellowship of the Ring, but I do have this really pretty bind-up edition that is just gorgeous and so nice and has like fold-out maps. Like, are you kidding? So I would like to try and read all 3 of them, but I, at the very least, need to read The Fellowship of the Ring. We've also got Pachinko by Min Jin Lee on my TBR. This is one I also started in 2024. This wasn't on my yearly TBR, but this is a book I've been wanting to read for the longest time. I remember hearing about it like quite a few years ago, when it was really big on YouTube. A lot of YouTubers I followed and subscribed to were reading it, especially a lot of Korean ones. And I've heard such incredible things. This has also got a TV series, I believe, on Apple TV, which I don't have, but I would like to watch after I have finished this book. So this book follows a family in Korea and then their daughter's journey to Japan. It starts in Korea in 1911, and it follows this man who has got some differences to others, and he ends up marrying this young girl, and they start a family together, and he becomes a very integral part of their community and their household. They end up having a very young daughter, and she ends up becoming pregnant because of a married Yakuza man, and this Christian man marries her to help her start a new life, and they go to Japan and start life there. And it follows her moving to this hostile country where she has no friends or home, and that her salvation is just the beginning of her story. It seems like a very interesting and important read. It reminds me a lot of Beasts of a Little Land in some way, looking at that relationship between Korea and Japan during this time period with the Japanese occupation. So I'm very intrigued to see how this goes. The bits I did read were it was beautiful writing, but also very heartbreaking and heavy at the same time. So this is one I would like to read, and it's also just got another gorgeous cover. I've also got a horror that I'd like to read, and this is The Reformatory by Tanarive Ju. This is set in Jim Crow era Florida. It follows a young 12-year-old boy who gets into a fight with this young white kid, and he ends up getting sent to the Gracetown School for Boys. And it says the segregated reformatory is a chamber of horrors, and it's haunted by the boys that have died there. And it says that in order to survive the sadistic school warden and the evil meted out in his funhouse, Robert must enlist the help of the school's ghosts, and that only they have their own motivations. So it seems interesting, a lot to do with ghosts and atrocities committed in America's history, and I think this would be a very interesting way to tell this important story, and I've heard a lot of great reviews about it. It is quite a long book, but I've heard it's pretty easy to get through. That being said, it is 600 pages, so we shall see. Now, this one is a repeat from my 2024 TBR. That is The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. This is book 1 in a trilogy, I believe. I don't remember what this is called, but I've been wanting to read this ever since I read The Adventures of Mina El Sarafi, which you can see just behind me here, which is Shannon's adult debut. But this is, I think, the first book she wrote. And my partner got me this for Christmas like a year or two ago now, and I've been wanting to read it ever since. So this is set in 18th century Cairo. It says, thieves, tricksters, con artists, and outcasts eke out a living swindling rich nobles and foreign invaders alike. But alongside this new world, the old stories linger, tales of jinn and spirits of cities hidden amongst the swirling sands of the desert, full of enchantment, desire, and riches, where magic pours down every street, hanging in the air like dust. Many wish their lives could be filled with wonder, but not Nari. She knows the trades she uses to get by are just tricks and sleights of hand. There's nothing magic about her. She only wishes to one day leave Cairo, but as the saying goes, be careful what you wish for. And I've just heard really good things about this whole series, and I'm very interested. I love YA fantasy when it's done well, so I'm very intrigued to see how this one goes. Now, we've also got Normal People by Sally Rooney on this TBR. I've owned this for quite a few years now, and I haven't read it. It is something that I've been wanting to read for ages. It's a book that is insanely popular everywhere. I actually ended up buying a copy of Intermezzo when it came out, but I want to read this one first because I think this is a better introduction to Sally Rooney. It's a lot shorter, so I feel like that makes it a bit more accessible in my mind. And I know Sally Rooney obviously doesn't use quotation marks, which I used to have an issue with, but now I think I just need to be in the right headspace and I need to be prepared for that when I go into it. So this is set in a small Irish town, and it follows two school students who grew up together, live in the same town, but they're complete opposites. One is the super popular kid, one is the really lonely outcast, and they strike up a conversation, and it's about their friendship and love. I remember watching the first episode of this TV show and I really liked it, but I stopped watching it because I wanted to read the book first. And I'm just excited to see how this does explore their relationship, both romantically and platonically. So I'm really interested, and I just love this cover. It's so simple but beautiful, and I love the like little fish tin with the two people in there. But I'm very excited for this one. One I also have been putting off for too long is The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This is book one in the Farseer trilogy, which is the first trilogy in the whole realm of the Elderlings series. The reason I've been putting this off is because I know I'm going to be hooked, and I know I'm going to immediately want to read the entire realm of the Elderlings. And I've just been scared because I have so many other books I need to read, so I don't want to be sunk into another series where I only own the one book. So this book follows Fitz. He is the bastard son of the prince in this world that is on the brink of a civil war, and he is raised alone in the stables. He only has the king's fool for his friend, the children that are of the lower city, and his unusual affinity for animals. To be useful to the crown, Fitz is trained as an assassin and to be able to use the Farseer family's magic. His tutor is allied to another political faction and is basically working towards Fitz's downfall and is trying to kill him, and Fitz must use everything he can to try and survive. I've just heard such amazing things about this. I actually have been considering starting a book club for the realm of the Elderlings where I thought we could all read it together, which would be really fun. It would be something I'd do on Fable and do like a monthly vlog for each of the book on here. So let me know if that's something you would be interested in, because I feel like it'd be really fun to read this whole series and delve into this world together. We've also got Chain Gang All-Stars by Nanakwame R.J. Brenya. This is set in an alternate version of America where there is the Chain Gang All-Stars entertainment program inside America's prison systems. It's live streamed to millions of people, and the prisoners must fight for benefits within those own prison systems. And the winner who wins every single fight is theoretically meant to get let out, but that never happens until now. I'm very intrigued to see how this goes. It sounds so interesting, very like Hunger Games-esque in some ways, and I think it'll be a really interesting commentary on the prison system. I also have a classic on this TBR. I've been wanting to get into more classics just because I own so many of them. It hasn't been going well, but I do want to try and change that in 2025. So I've got Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte on here. I've started reading Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte and haven't got far, but I love Gothic fiction, and these books are such pivotal moments in Gothic fiction. I'd like to read Rebecca as well, but I think Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights as well are going to be my priorities, just because I need to read them. I honestly don't even remember what Jane Eyre is about, but this was a Christmas gift from my grandparents in 2019, so I'd like to finally read it. On here, I also have a series I need finished, or specifically a duology, and that is the Radiant Empire duology, I think it's called. It starts with She Who Became the Sun, and then we've got He Who Drowned the World. These are both by Shelley Parker Chan. So this is a historical fantasy. It's set in China when the Mongol Empire was a very big thing and the main conflict that was happening at that time. And this is basically a retelling and a reimagining of that time period. There is magic and all sorts of weird stuff. It's very queer as well. And I'm just very intrigued and nervous to see how the series ends. I don't know how to properly and adequately explain this, but if you're a historical fantasy fan, these books are literally perfect for you. We've also got the Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab on this list. I pre-ordered this and got this on release. This is actually a very cool signed edition. V.E. Schwab is one of my favorite authors, yet I haven't read any of her books in ages. I reread the first Shades of Magic book, A Darker Shade of Magic, because I did want to reread those before getting to the Fragile Threads of Power, but I'm unsure if I'm going to do that now or not. I feel like I need to jog my memory, but book 3 absolutely destroyed me and I don't want to go through that again. So we'll see. But if you haven't heard of the Fragile Threads of Power, this is a book 1 in a new trilogy that is set in the same universe as the Shades of Magic. So it's got some returning characters years later and years after the events of the 3rd and final book in the Shades of Magic trilogy. This follows some new characters as well. One of the main characters that we're introduced to in this book is Tez. She's a young woman with a knack for fixing broken things and is thrust into the affairs of Antari, kings and traders and thieves, and that only her unique powers can weave threads of power through. So it sounds really interesting, and I absolutely loved this magic system from the other books. It's about 4 alternate different Londons, and there are only some people that can travel between those universes, and they're called the Antari. And I'm just so excited to see how this goes. I'm so excited and scared, and just talking about it makes me so excited, so I'm definitely going to be getting to this soon. A series I want to start next year as well is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I've been wanting to read these for so long. I actually have all the original editions, a few of them signed as well and personalised, but I saw that these were coming out as I was going to be starting to read them, and I'm like, okay, I will wait for the re-edited versions because she has changed quite a few things and tidied up things and made it more perfect for who she is as an author now, which I'm really intrigued by, so I would like to read this, and I've heard such amazing things about this series. I have book 1 here, so I will slowly collect the others so I can start and finish everything that is currently out in this series. But this is set in a futuristic London, and there is magic there, but it is also kind of pushed down. Our main character, Paige Mahoney, holds a high rank in the criminal underworld, and she's a dreamwalker, which is a rare kind of clairvoyant, which under Cian law, which is like the country, the area, she commits treason just by breathing and existing. So Paige is then arrested for murder and locked up and thrown into captivity at Oxford, where she meets the founders of Cian and finds out some very weird designs and things for her uncommon abilities, and she has to try and escape and survive and has to use every skill at her disposal and put her trust in someone who ought to be her enemy. Sounds interesting, and I know this has also got queer characters in it as well, so I'm very excited. The only Samantha Shannon books I have read is the Roots of Chaos books, which are some of my all-time favourites. That is Prayer of the Orange Tree and Dayful and I just love those books so much, and I'm so excited to get to the series. Okay, finally we've got Goddess of the River by Vaishnavi Patel. This is the beautiful Illumicrate edition, and I'm so excited for this. It sounds so good. So this is about a mother and a son, a god and a goddess, and a curse and magic. It follows a goddess who is cursed and becomes mortal until she carries out the details of that curse and completes them and fixes it. And she unwittingly passes on that curse to her son. And when he is announced as the new king, it sets into motion everything that's happening with a war. And they end up reconnecting and have to try and fix this and find out why this is happening to them and what to do. And it just sounds so interesting, and I love this cover, and that's honestly the main thing that makes me want to read it. I'm just so excited for this, and it's so pretty. But I've yapped for long enough, so these are my 12 in 12 2025 edition. I'm so excited for all of these books. I will try and document my reading of all of them in a little monthly video, but I'm just so excited for these. Let me know what books you were planning to read in the 12 months of 2025, or if you have read any of these and which one you think I should start with. But I will be back with new videos every single week. I will do longer videos like this talking about TBRs, book recommendations, that kind of normal thing, and then I want to scatter in it reading vlogs and just vlogging in general and talking about other stuff There are so many things in life I love, so this will just be a place where I can collect my memories and my love and my hobbies for everything in life. So subscribe for more videos. I will also link my other places down below. I have Instagram, BlueSky, and TikTok as well, even though I don't really know what's going to be happening with TikTok in the future if it does get banned in the US. We shall see. But thank you for sticking around to the end. I really appreciate you being here, and subscribe for more. I will see you guys for the new video next week. Bye!